Hey, I'm going to go over some safety tips for bringing a new dog home or a fearful dog in and out of your car until they're not fearful anymore. I hear stories about dogs getting out of cars a lot. I've been a rescue for 10 years, and there's a lot of times when people either bring dogs to us or they take their dog home and the dog jumps out of the car real quick and runs off. So following these kinds of safety protocols will help with that. First thing is to have a leash on the dog, and I always recommend a crate. Having a crate in the car is the safest way to transport a dog. The dog can't jump out unexpectedly, and it also can't jump up into the front and possibly interfere with your driving. If you don't have a crate, and I realize a lot of people don't, or maybe you're in a situation where you just don't have one, and you have an SUV, like my vintage 4Runner here, these are some tips. Sure. Oh. I'm using Chardonnay today because she's white, and I'm hoping you guys can see her pretty well in the car. So first of all, I have a divider in there separating the back of the car from the seats. Now, again, you may not have one of these at first, but this is a very handy safety mechanism to have. I like the dog to ride in the back, if at all possible, because that way they won't interfere with my driving. But then you have an issue of how to open the back of the car without the dog jumping out. So here's my little tip. I get the dog to stay in the back of the car, and if they won't do that by themselves, you can have someone go around and sit in the seat and hold the dog while you close the hatch, or you can use your body pressure and tell them to stay. But Char knows the drill, so what I do is I close the hatch and I close the leash in the car right here. This way, when I go to get the dog out, I grab the leash and then I open the door, and the dog might race out because they're terrified, but I still have the leash. So you want to be prepared for that happening as well. Another thing I do sometimes, if I can, is pull my car totally into my garage when I get home, close the garage door, and then get the dog out of the car. That way the dog's contained in my garage. All right, so let's say you have to put the dog in the back seat of your car. I would, under no circumstances but absolute emergency, put the dog in the front seat, because it's just not safe. You don't know this dog at this point. You don't know if it's gonna freak out in the car or not, so I use the back seat if needed. Now, a lot of times fearful dogs will get in and hide on the floorboard, which is fine, except that if they get scared, they might be able to access the driver's seat. So usually what I would do, hey Char, come here girl, is have them sit on the seat. And again, they may not sit, they might stand, it doesn't matter. And then I tie the leash so they cannot get to the driver's seat. See, like she physically can't do it. She has enough leash, she can lay down on the seat if she wants to. Right, Char? And this way too, when you go to, if you close the door and you go to get the dog out, they're tied in and they can't jump out of the car in a panic. Make sure they don't chew through the leash before you get the dog out. If they do, obviously you have to get another leash and put it on them. You can also put the leash through the door the way I did with the trunk too. The leash might be hanging out a bit much because it has to be a certain length so the dog can't access the front seat, but that can also work. So, hope these tips help you get your fearful dog or new dog home safely or wherever you need to go.